Seasoned Citizens presents. Our program today is called Pink and Red Hearts. My partner, my good partner, I might say, Betty Jones. Hello, Betty.
Hi,
How are
Hallie.
you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Remember, it was just a few weeks ago that we was here talking about wintertime, but at that time there wasn't snow on the ground like there is today.
Right.
But today is really a cold one. Let's go way back about Valentine, what the real meaning of Valentine Day is. It may seem as a surprise to learn that there were no fewer than 8 saints who bore the name of Valentine. 3 of them in particular had a tie-in with February 14th. 2 were holy men, 1 a bishop, the other a Roman priest. These 2 men were martyred on the same day, February 14th, 269 AD. It is the Roman priest Valentinus that interesting legends are told. In the 3rd century, Emperor Claudius II ordered his subjects to worship the 12 Roman gods, but many of his people were Christian and refused to comply with the emperor's orders, even though their defiance was a crime punishment by death. Valentinus, the young priest, aided the persecuting Christians, and because of this was arrested and thrown in prison. During his imprisonment, he performed a miraculous cure on the jailer's blind daughter, restoring her sight. Then came the day when Valentinus was summoned to appear before Claudius. When the whim hit the emperor to try to convert the priest to the Roman gods, but Valentinus refused to renounce Christianity, and so the emperor ordered him to be beaten with clubs and then beheaded. According to the legend, on the eve of his execution, Valentinus wrote a farewell message to the little girl whose sight he had restored, urging her to stay close to God, and signed his note, "From your Valentine." His execution was carried out February 14th and in the year 496 AD. The Pope set aside this date to honor the memory of the saint, and this is what they had said for him. Long, long ago, a priest named Valentine owned a beautiful garden where children came to play. One day, the kind priest was imprisoned for life by a king, but he couldn't forget the children. He sent them a white dove carrying the note, addressed to the children I love. And with this note, he sent them a key to his garden so they could continue to play there. For the rest of his life, he remembered all his friends with messages carried by a dove, and these became known as the first Valentines. Now, do you have a poem?
That's very interesting. My poem's about a music box. They usually give music boxes on Valentine's Day along with candy and stuff. A delicate mixture of music and art, delighting the eye and ear. As round and round you turn your charms, your world a twinkling sphere. Music is your heartbeat, and although it plays is not long, you make the most of your one desire to please with beauty and song.
That's good. Do you own a music box?
Oh, I own several.
I do too. I've got some clowns, and I got a piano, and I've got just an ordinary box, but I don't remember ever having those given to me for Valentine's Day. But you know, Betty, they gave a lot of things for Valentine. They used to give gloves, and they give perfume, they give candy, they even give toys, like my little bear. This was a Valentine for me one time.
Oh, that's cute.
So Valentine can represent anything as long as it is a symbol of love, whether it is a paper Valentine or something like a toy or a gift in that respect. And here's something that goes along with that. It's called My Secret Valentine. It sits on the shelf on the top of my closet. Once it was a shoebox decorated for Valentine's Day, and it's given to me by my oldest child. 3 colors of construction paper, pink and red and white, faded now, aluminum foil, several paper doilies, 3 kinds of macaroni, gumdrops, jelly beans, some little white hearts with words on them, the kind that taste like Tums, and the whole thing held together with a lot of white library paste. This shoebox is moldy, where the jelly beans and the gumdrops have run together. It's sticky in places, but it means an awful lot to me. If you lift the lid, you know what makes me keep it. Unfolded and faded and fragile pieces of large lined paper is words Hi Daddy, D-A-D-D-I, and Happy, Happy Valentine, and I love you. Glued to the bottom of the box are 23 X's and O's made of macaroni. Scrawled in several places are names of 3 children. It's a product of love in its most uncomplicated and trustworthy state. The children are grown now. They still love me, though it's harder sometimes to get direct evidence. No one else knows the sticky old Valentine is there. Once in a while I take it down and open it. It is something I can touch and hold and believe in. Now that they are not around where I can see them and to feel their small arms around my neck, I hope when I go on, I can take my treasured box.
We have some boxes here.
Yes, you know, years ago, school especially, we had Valentine boxes. There was one, decorated pretty on the front, sides, and the top had a slit in it where the children would put their Valentines. You have one with you too, Betty?
Well, down at our meal site, we've
Ooh,
elected a king and queen. And
That's
so
a
we
bright
use
one.
this box to vote for our king and queen. And we let it up to the people to vote whoever they wanted to. And on the 14th of...
later. You have another poem now?
Hopelessly romantic. Are we hopelessly romantic? Just 2 sentimental fools? Well, according to our modern friends, we're breaking all the rules. Still adoring lighted candles on the table while we dine. We've never lost our preference for those songs from '49. On sunny days in August, on a picnic by the stream, we sit for endless hours sharing secret hopes and dreams. On starry nights in April, you and I walk hand in hand to that bridge where 30 years ago, our wedding day, we planned. In my personal opinion, hopeless fools we never were, though some may still maintain the thought we're wrong of what I'm sure. But yes, we're sentimental, quite romantically inclined, and in my heart you'll always be my favorite Valentine.
That I like. And speaking about Valentines, I bet perhaps a man sent his wife or his sweetheart one of those old Valentines that are there on the table. That was sent in 1924. The Valentines in those times were beautiful. And I see by the everyday Valentines that we have are pretty. They give the thought that they should. And they're also bringing back some of those old Valentines that I see in the card shop. They're bringing some old replicas of the Valentines that they used to have years ago. They were so pretty.
A lot of them made their own in them those days.
Oh,
didn't
yes, yes. Most of the Valentines that went in the boxes was made at home.
they? Those are the best because they're made from the heart.
Did you get a box of candy on Valentine's Day?
Yes,
Do you still have it?
yes.
Yeah.
I save all my boxes.
The best candy there ever was because it come from your sweetheart.
Right, right.
Here's another one. It's called To My Love. Into my time-worn mailbox, I placed a heart-shaped card, a Valentine with lacy trim, addressed to one afar. It carried a meaningful poem sealed with a grateful heart, over snow-covered hills and valleys this message to impart. By way of my time-worn mailbox, within these wintry months, I sent to my lover, so distant and true, my love for all that he's thine. It's your turn now.
Now, can I dedicate this one?
You sure can. You have someone you want to dedicate it to?
Yeah, I'd like to dedicate it to my love.
Your love. All right, Betty.
And the poem is called Love. And this is dedicated to my husband, Dale. And hopefully he'll see this.
I hope so.
I love you not only for what you are, but for what I am when I am with you. I love you not only for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. I love you for the part of me that you bring out. I love you for putting your hand into my heaped up heart. I'm passing over all the foolish, weak things that you can't help dimly seeing there, and for drawing out into the light all the beautiful belongings that no one else had looked quite for enough to find. I love you because you are helping me to make one of the lumbers of my life, not a tavern, but a temple out of the works of my every day, not a reproach, but a song.
Did you tell your husband she was going to dedicate it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that'll be a surprise to him, won't it?
We don't have cable vision, though, so we won't be able to see
Well, you'll have to take him someplace where you can see television because he's going to have to hear that to appreciate it. I have another one here. It's called A Bundle of Love. When I journeyed along as far as I could and I fell by the side of the road, then I called on the Lord and I thought that he could help me along with my load. But the first thing he did was to look at my pack and examine the burdens I had. And the things that was good he left on my back and threw away all that was bad. There was gossip, jealousy, slander, and hate, and a sharp deal I made with a friend, and a parcel of rumors I should not relate, and some habits I knew I should mend. Then I threw away bundles of envy and greed, and a package of old discontent, and a dozen more bundles, all worldly indeed. I began to see what he meant. Then he lifted me up and beckoned me on, as he vanished in glory above, and I journeyed along with a smile and a song, with only a bundle of love. I like that one. That one seemed to just kind of hit the spot.
Somebody would be nice to give that to.
That's right.
Type it up. I have one. Treasured Valentines. I'll see these fancy Valentines for sale in every store, yet there's a very special kind I always treasured more. The printed ones are nice, of course, with verse and lace and such, but somehow they just seem to lack that warm and loving touch. The Valentine I treasured most is given with a kiss, and fashioned by dear little hands to fill my heart with bliss. It's given with a joyful hug, and though I shed a tear, it fills my heart with happiness the same way every year. Too soon those busy little hands will buy one at the store, and yet my heart will treasure most the Valentines of yore.
Speaking of Valentines of yore, I bet you never seen anything like these, Betty. These was way back in 1911.
To my sweet Valentine.
And this one.
Here, let's set this up here. Maybe we can get... And to my Valentine.
Some of these was really elaborate. Look what this in here. It had all filled with pretty ribbons. It's called a friendship token.
Oh, yes.
And this one without any color or anything. This was 1910. But it conveys the message anyway.
Boy, those are collectors, aren't they?
Right. Well, let's see. How about special friends?
Okay.
Maybe perhaps we don't send a Valentine to a mother or grandmother, things like that, but I'm sure we have special friends that we like to send Valentines to.
Just like you and I.
Right, special friends. Those are red letter days in our lives when we meet people who thrill us like fine poems, people whose handshakes are brimful of unspoken sympathy, and whose sweet, rich nature imparts to our eager, impatient spirits a wonderful relentlessness which is the essence is divine. The perplexity, irritations, and worries that have observed our path like unpleasant dreams, and we like to see the new eyes and hear with new ears the beauty and the harmony of God's real world. The solemn nothings that fill our everyday life blossom suddenly into bright possibilities. In a world while such friends are near us, we feel that all is well. Perhaps we never saw them once. Perhaps we'll never see them again. They may never cross our path. But the influence of their calm, mellow nature that is poured upon us is really to take away our discontent and we feel his healing touch as the ocean feels a mountain stream refreshing the stream.
I have one, lessons in life.
That sounds good. We need those.
Right. My mother taught me the love of pretty things, beautiful art in butterfly wings, God-given rainbows, the flower and trees, the grassy gentle bent by the breeze. My mother taught me the love of singing things, sweet musical voices, violin strings, melody sung by birds at breaking dawn, the soft sigh of the wind all night long. My mother taught me the love of human things, the joy that a little baby brings, the unbroken love of life, tried o'er and o'er, the thrill of friendship knocks at the door.
That's a nice one. I like poetry. I like poems. It really sets you right up, it seems like, when somebody reads a poem or sends you a poem.
But it says in here that melody sung by birds at breaking dawn. Have you heard birds?
Yes, you have that opportunity out in the country more or less, don't
Right,
you?
right.
Look out your window and see these different birds.
Well, not have here lately, not below zero weather. They don't.
No. I noticed a couple of big fat cardinals was singing just before we had our real cold weather.
Yeah, yeah.
You have another one?
No? Have you got one?
Yes, I think I can fill in with this one.
Okay.
You can't do a kindness, you cannot bring happiness into the lives of others without spreading a little of it on you inside of your own heart. You can't do a kindness without a reward, not in silver or gold, but in joy from the Lord. You can't light a candle or show others the way without feeling the warmth of that bright little ray. And you can't pluck a rose or fragrance with dew without part of the fragrance remaining with you.
Well, that's pretty.
And that on a Valentine would be all right too, wouldn't it?
Is that come from a Valentine card?
I don't think so. I just happened to pick it up somewheres. I think it was from a poem that was sent to me through the mail. I have a very dear friend that she's always writing poems for me, and once in a while a letter will come with a poem, a new poem, and I appreciate it so much.
You should have a book of all your poems that
I
people
wished I had kept all the poems that I
I have one of love of poetry. I have no love of poetry, I heard a fellow say, for it is frivolous and trit, and wastes the time of day. I could not help but disagree, for countless times each day I feel the joy of poetry that gently holds its way. The poems of Psalms and Ruth is soothing to my heart, with wisdom, peace, and guidance that its measures impart. The nursery rhymes I read my young, the church hymns that I sang, the tunes I hum while fast at work, all have a poetic ring. For when the heart is filled with joy, it lends itself to a song, and life is filled with poetry as moments rush along. And when the heart is void of cheer, and little hope shines through, the gentle calm of poetry can be a comfort too. I feel the power of poetry within my everyday. I thrill to hear its glad refrain as I go on my way.
True, absolutely. Even a kind word means an awful lot to a person as you go through life. It must be terribly drab for people that go day after day after day and nobody reaches out to touch them or to give them a kind word or to let them know that they really care.
Gentle. It should be gentle.
That's right. I think that it doesn't have to be Valentine. It could be every day of our life. There's always somebody that needs a little bit of attention, a little bit of care.
Pat on the back and say how you look today. Or
here's one to my best friend. When someone offers gladly to help out in any way, it brings you such good feeling and brings sunshine to your day. When someone knows just how to make you smile and cheer your mood, it brings you warmth and joy and fills your heart with gratitude. When someone says, I understand, your cares seem so much lighter. When someone takes the time to make your whole world so much brighter.
I have one here, the passionate shepherd to his love. Come live with me and be my love, and we will all the pleasures prove, that hills and valleys, dales and fields, and all the craggy mountains yield. There will be There will we sit upon the rocks and see the shepherds feed their flocks by shallow rivers to whose falls melodious birds sing Mardi Gras. There will I make thee beds of roses and 1,000 fragrant posies, a cap of flowers and a kirtle embroidered all with leaves of mirth, a crown made of the finest wool, which from our pretty lambs we pull, fair lined slippers for the cold, with buckles of the purest gold, a belt of straw and ivy buds, with corals clasps and amber studs. And if these pleasures may thee move, come live with me and be my love. Thy silver dishes for thy meat, as precious as the gods do eat, shall on an ivory table be prepared each day for thee and me. The shepherd swains shall dance and sing for thy delight each morning, May mornings. If these delights thy mind may move, then live with me and be my love.
My, that was certainly colorful. All those grand things, you could just almost picture
Leaves,
that.
embroideries,
Fine table and
lambs, buckles, purest of gold.
everything. Yeah,
Mm,
elaborate.
right.
Betty, I believe you're going to have a Valentine party or something at the Clark House, aren't you?
Right. We
Tell us about it.
let our people decide on who they wanted as king and queen. And I'm the only one that counts the ballots because I don't get to vote.
And you're the only one that knows who it is, too.
Right.
Did anybody
Right.
try to pry it out of you?
Yes. Yes. We will count. We used to, when I first started down to the Clark House, we crowned them with these crowns. They're handmade.
They're
and
pretty.
Kind of made up in a hurry, but they serve the purpose.
Sure.
Then after a few years, we decided we'd get a real crown. And this is going to be the lady's crown.
That's a beautiful one. I'll gladly wear that.
Okay. You put that right on your head.
I'd gladly wear that, Betty. See? How nice.
And this is the man's crown.
Oh, that's
we have
elaborate.
fun. We have fun with
Sure,
it. So
I should say so.
I think it's going to be a fun day, and I can't tell you the name, but you just have to
Betty,
come down and see.
Betty, what is it?
I'm not going to tell you. I'll
What
let
else do you do like on Valentine's Day?
Oh, we're going to give fruit baskets away, and we'll sing
Does that go by numbers, fruit baskets?
by numbers.
Yeah, you were given a
Yeah,
number
we
or
give
something.
tickets, and then we'll give the fruit
You're going
baskets
to have a
away.
Valentine box?
We're going to have a Valentine box. We'll probably put it in. We'll probably put it up Monday.
Then everybody will make their own Valentines.
And rather than to send it through the mail, we'll be their mailman.
That's a good idea. I should say so. What have you got down there, Betty? Is that a book?
Mm-hmm.
Could I see it?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like you got a place marked in here, too.
Oh, I read poetry at home a lot. I'm not very good at it, but it's fun.
There's a poem in here about St. Valentine, too, isn't there? The Legend of the Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking of his little flock.
Why don't you read that?
Oh, I've read that one before. How about your problems, my problems, and our problems?
Sounds good. Read.
Whatever your problem, whatever your cross, whatever your burden, whatever your loss, you've got to believe me, you're not alone. For all of the troubles and trials you've known are faced at a minute by others like you, who also cry out, "Oh God, what shall I do?" I read many letters from far countries and places. I see eyes of sadness in hundreds of faces. And I too feel the thorns and the bruises of life, and the great stabbing pain of the sorrow's sharp knife. But I know in my heart this will too pass away. And so as you read this, I implore you today, find comfort in knowing and never cease praying, for whatever your problem or whatever your sorrow, God holds a key for a brighter tomorrow. A world needs friendly folks like you. In this troubled world, it's refreshing to find someone who still has the time to be kind. Someone who still has the faith to believe that the more you give, the more you receive. Someone who's ready by thought, word, and deed to reach out a hand in the hour of need. And that's what Valentines really mean an awful lot, you know, to know that somebody thinks about you. Sometimes you hear from a person that you haven't heard from for years, and to send a Valentine, it means so much. I've enjoyed this, sitting here among our Valentines and reminiscing and past and present. Is there anything you'd like to add to it, Betty?
No. I have a poem for a mailman.
Well, let's hear it.
Shall I say? Okay.
Let's hear it.
Because sometimes
they deserve a little credit,
right,
too,
right.
delivering the mail.
Yes. I'm glad to see our mailman call with letters in his hand to bring the greeting from a friend who's in a far-off land. I anxiously await his call and hurry to the door for sweet surprises from his pack sent from a foreign shore. I think he knows the joy he brings whenever he comes here, especially when he holds a note from someone very dear.
Right. And I like this one. This is for every day. It's called Hand in Hand. Hand in hand may you find joy, true joy beyond all measure. Hand in hand may you create fond memories to treasure. Hand in hand as time goes by, may love grow even stronger. Hand in hand year after year, though paths seem steeper and longer. Hand in hand with faith and hope, may you walk close together. Hand in hand in each day dawns regardless of the weather. Hand in hand may you fulfill your very secret longing. Hand in hand the comfort of belonging. Hand in hand may God guide you, his grace, his love preparing. Hand in hand may he grant you his most abundant blessing.
So let's hand in hand.
Hand in hand, Betty, and may we always be that kind of partners, hand in hand. We seem like we do pretty good from one time to another, don't we?
Right.
One occasion after another. I want to thank you, Betty, for being here today. It's always such a pleasure to work with you, and I'm sure that each and everything that we bring to our watching public, they enjoy too. Sometimes it's a little far-fetched, and sometimes it's a little frivolous, but all in all, we bring it for your enjoyment. Watch us as much as you can. We're so glad for all of our programs, and we appreciate our crew. Each and every one of them are such good people to work with. I thank you.